Morning and welcome to today's edition of Know Your Rights, our legal program on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting live from the Diocesan Media Center, 29 Marina, Lagos. It's 16 minutes gone past the hour of 9. Today, Friday, the 14th day of March 2025. Of course, I am ANOSIKE CHIMEZIE, welcoming you to today's edition of the program. Yes, today, still in the mood of the celebration of the International Women's Day. Yeah, we'll be talking about accelerating women advancement, workplace violence, and intimate partner violence. Remember last week, it was all about breaking barriers, women, the law, and the fight for equal rights. Jokingly, some people will say the Women's Day, we keep on celebrating them day in, day out, and no time for the men. And this morning, yes, we have barrister DORCAS ABAH in the studio. She is the publicity secretary of FIDA, Lagos branch. FIDA is International Federation of Women Lawyers. Barrister, good morning and welcome to the program.
Morning, CHIMEZIE.
Okay, of course, Barrister YEWANDE DEJI-OMOTAYO will be joining us soon on the program. Okay, let's get into it. When you hear the name FIDA, what does FIDA stand for? The International Federation of Women Lawyers. What do they do?
Okay, thank you so very much for the introduction, and thank you, our dear listeners. So FIDA is International Federation of Women Lawyers, and FIDA is a non-governmental organization that promotes, protects, and preserve the rights of women and children in our society. FIDA, as of today, we have 46 branches across the 36 states in Nigeria. So it's a large community of women, practicing the legal profession. So our key major activities are in FIDA. So we have legal clinics, which holds in FIDA Lagos every Thursday, beginning from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we carry out our activities through legal aid and representation. So these are free legal services for women and children across the 36 states in Nigeria. We also advocate for women's rights, women and children's rights through policy. We engage with policy makers, even to the highest level in Nigeria, in advancing the cause of women and children. We also carry out public awareness and advocacy program, educating the people on their rights and the advancement of women. And then we have a shelter in Abuja where women or children who are, going through some, forms of violence, have a place to secure their life. And then a host of other activities we are engaged with at FIDA. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, having said that now, let's look at, because the focus, you can see now the focus is majorly on women. Now, when we talk about accelerating women advancements, what do we mean by accelerating women advancement?
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, the International Women's Day theme for this year is a remarkable one. And over the course of this month, we've been going to different, radio stations and every other media houses to, advocate for the advancement for the rights of women. So when we talk about the advocating for the advancement of women's rights, we talk about legal frameworks, creating legal frameworks that, that encourages or that speak more on the rights of women. Legal framework, like in Nigeria, we have the VAP Act. VAP Act is Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. So this particular work of art is not yet in circulation in the whole federation. We still have some states that have not adopted this particular legislation. And then when we talk about advancing the cause of women, We also would be talking about establishing other legal contexts or legal policies. And when we are talking about policy, it doesn't have to do with the federal legislation alone. We are talking about some form of gender responsive policies, be it in the workplace environment, in businesses areas. We talk about where business owners put in place some laws and policies that advance the cause of women. For instance, we talk about equal pay rights, we talk about maternity leave, we talk about, a host of them. So it's not, when you're looking at laws and policy, it goes beyond, the federal laws. So we need we need to bring it down to even workplace policy.
Okay, that's where I'm more interested in the workplace violence. Are there violence in workplaces against women?
Okay. All right. That question is, I don't know, it's not actually funny, but it is a very serious question. Yes, there are sexual harassment, there are other forms of abuses and harassment that goes on in the workplace environment. And that is a fact. It is not a myth, it's a fact. All around the globe, this thing is what happens every day. Women experiences workplace violence in all forms. And sometimes this thing comes in a subtle manner. Sometimes it's not pronounced. These abuses occurs in forms of payments. Some organizations, you don't have equal pay policy. I'm carrying out my work as expected. You are seeing results, but because I'm a woman, I am not entitled to some, benefits, some allowances, and these are abuses. They are all abuses. So sometimes it doesn't even come directly; it comes in a subtle manner, either in forms of, comments. Oh, why should you take this role? No, you shouldn't take this role. It's not meant for women. Or travel allowance, a whole lot of them. So,
but somehow, some people in some workplaces, they will say women enjoy more than the men in workplaces. When you talk about you see maternity leave and the rest of them, and the workload also, some people might say that women benefit more from organizations than men. Is that true?
It depends. Honestly, I would say that statement might not totally be true because it depends on the kind of work, or it depends on the policy that is being put in place. For instance, let's talk about maternity leave. Some men don't even want to request for maternity leave. So it's more of a, let's say, cultural or social norm. Like I'm going for maternity leave. A lot of men wouldn't even want to come forward and say to their bosses or their line manager that I want to take maternity leave. So it's not as a function of gender. It's a social stereotype. It's a cultural thing. It's rooted in our different ways of life. So it's not a woman thing. Honestly, I've worked in different corporate organizations. It's really difficult to see men come for maternity leave. Sometimes when they say maternity leave, okay, yes, it's particular to women, but some policies have been advanced to even include paternity leave. Like in Lagos State, there is paternity leave. Yes, I know offices, some establishments in Lagos State that gives my paternity leave.
I need to work there.
But then men still don't, request for this leave because they feel they are men. They shouldn't be going on paternity leave. Even the word paternity leave, sounds, so it's a lot of relearning, unlearning. We have a lot of relearning and unlearning to do in terms of, paternity leave or maternity leave. Yeah.
Okay. Now, having said that, now we have something going on in the country now in the Senate chambers. Senator Natasha Akpotudua and the allegation of sexual harassment and the rest of them against the Senate president. But according to her, when she went to IPU to report her case, she said she was treated somehow because of the sexual harassment. But this morning, the Senate spokesperson has come out to say it's not about sexual harassment. It's all about breaking the rules of the Senate. So, and in that Senate, 109 senators, we have about 4 women.
Yeah.
So, is it that women shy away
from
leadership or some positions, or that they are not aware that they are this also inclusive in their constitutional rights?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Okay, so like you say, the statistics are glaring. We have 109 senators, and then we have only 4 who are women. So it speaks volume about how we take women in leadership in our country, Nigeria, that we have only 4 women in the highest, lawmaking space. So it speaks volume of the kind of society we have and how we place women in our society. Okay, so some of like personally, I don't think women do not understand that they have a right to be at the highest leadership, or even whatever leadership cadre. And I do not think that women do not understand that they have a right. But who are the people to put women on the seats? It's still you and I. It's still you and I. Who are the people to campaign? It's still you and I. Who are the people? So a lot of relearning needs to be done. We need to advocate for more women in leadership. We need to speak up that we need women's representation. For instance, having a minister as having a man as a minister for women affairs, or like it's somehow. So we need more women in the position of leadership, and it starts from the family, it starts from the workplace, it starts from our different community. Even if women do not see themselves, which I do not believe, we need to be intentional in making sure that some seats are reserved for women. We need to be intentional in making sure that women need to, to be represented in specific, in a specific room. For instance, for the case of Senator Natasha, that's, it's an obvious thing that it's okay. Yeah, I would say that the response was that it was not as a result of, the like sexual allegation is that but you and I know what is obtainable. We know what is going on. Yes, it could be as a result of the previous issues, or maybe the previous issue concerning seats change. It could be, but then everyone we recognize that there are underlying issues. Human beings, we have blood running in our veins, and you and I do not know the peak at which you can absorb some nasty treatment. So it could be that it was a break point was at the point where she lashed out about the underlying sexual harassment that has been going on. So that's a human being. So another thing in our society is that we fail to understand is that we look at sexual issue as a women issue. It is not. It is a human rights violation. It goes, so this habit of it's a woman's thing, it's a girl child thing. No, it is a human rights violation. We need to understand that it is wrong. It is wrong. Even the Constitution has provided for the protection of human dignity. So once that dignity is taken, that means the rights of a person, not necessarily a woman, has been violated. And we need to, do more public awareness of the rights of individual persons, not necessarily because that person is a woman. We need to understand that human being, we all have rights, and it is equal rights. It is equal right. The Constitution has provided for this right, but then what do we see? Do we have good enforcement of this right? How many persons have been prosecuted for violating the rights of another human being, be it a woman or be it a man? How many prosecution have we seen? So it goes beyond sexual petition or whatever. It is a human rights thing, and we must see it as a human rights violation.
Okay, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, Barrister Yewande will be joining us on the show. Keep listening to us. We'll be right back.
This is Lagoon Radio.
Are you looking for top-notch printing services that deliver quality and reliability every time? Look no further. The Lagos Diocesan Printing Press is here to serve you. At the Lagos Diocesan Printing Press, we specialize in bringing your ideas to life with precision and excellence. Whether you need business cards, brochures, flyers, or banners, we've got you covered. Our state-of-the-art printing technology ensures vibrant colors, clear text, and professional finishing that will make your brand stand out from the crowd. But that's not all. We pride ourselves on exceptional customer service, fast turnaround times, and competitive pricing to fit any budget. So why wait? Visit the Lagos Diocesan Printing Press today at 17 Broad Street, Lagos Anglican Seminary, and let us help you make a lasting impression. You can also give us a call on 0703 559 7826 or 0816 398 2570. Lagos Diocesan Printing Press, where your vision becomes reality.
Hello everyone, I am the Right Reverend Ifedola Senasu Gabriel Okupevi, Bishop of Lagos. You are listening to Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. God bless you as you keep on listening to us. God bless Nigeria. God will keep Nigeria. Lagoon of blessings will be upon you. Keep on listening. Keep on smiling, and peace will reign in your domain. In Jesus' name.
This is Lagoon Radio.
Your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and official radio of the Anglican Communion Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting live from the Diocesan Media Center, 29 Marina, Lagos. It's all about know your rights. Yes. And today, accelerating women advancement, workplace violence, and intimate partner violence. That's what we are talking about on today's edition of Know Your Rights. Remember also that Know Your Rights is designed to educate you on your fundamental rights as a citizen of Nigeria. And we've been talking to Barrister DORCAS ABAH. She's the Publicity Secretary, FIDA, Lagos branch. FIDA is the International Federation of Women Lawyers. International Federation of Women Lawyers. And Barrister YEWANDE DEJI-OMOTAYO joins us. She's a member, Project Committee, FIDA. Barrister, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Okay, we've been talking to your colleague, and she's laid foundation of the topic very well. Now, let me come to you on the issue of the intimate partner violence. When we talk about intimate partner violence, what do we really mean by intimate partner violence?
Thank you, our host. So when we're talking intimate partner violence, this stems from relationships, starting from boyfriend to girlfriend, living lovers, husband and wife. And, sometimes it stems beyond that, particularly in these days of different sorts of intimate relationships. So whoever is intimate to you, like probably there is the relationship that goes beyond cordial, can be classified as intimate partner. So when we're talking about violence in this aspect, we're talking about not just physical harm, not just physical abuse, but actually we're talking emotional, we're talking mental, we're talking psychological as well. So whereby one of the partners, particularly the woman, is on the receiving end, and it's actually the one that is treaded down upon, walked over in the relationship.
Okay. Now, to balance it, we've talked about the workplace, and now sometimes a lot of women, or maybe let me say in our climb, a lot of people don't know their rights. And when we talk about this intimate partner violence, what can someone do who her rights has been infringed on?
That is why we have FIDA all over Nigeria and FIDA Lagos, because we are based in Lagos. So we have FIDA in every state of the nation. So for FIDA, let's narrow it down to Lagos. So for FIDA Lagos, anyone experiencing violence can actually walk up to FIDA to make complaints. And not just FIDA, the Lagos state government supports women in this aspect of violence by establishing the domestic and sexual violence units. We call it the DSVRT. The response team, they are to, for rapid response at any time there is a complaint regarding gender-based violence or sexual-based violence against any female gender in Lagos.
Okay, now, what does FIDA, let me come to Barrister DORCAS. Really, what does FIDA do? You have told us that before, but what do they really do in terms of this? And sometimes a lot of people are afraid to approach lawyers in their cases. So what does FIDA do in this case?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So for FIDA, like I mentioned earlier, we carry out legal activities, legal aid and representation. So in a case of this nature, when we get a complaint, so the first thing is for the victim here, the complainant, to come forward and lodge a complaint, and then FIDA will spring into action, especially with the consent of the complainant. And then we have lawyers. We have lawyers on standby that will take up their matters absolutely free. These services are free. You do not have to pay any dime to get any lawyer on your case, because it is a matter of rights. And at FIDA, we take it absolutely of great importance. So it's for the complainant to come forward and lodge this complaint, and you would have a lawyer assigned to you free of charge, without any charges, honestly. So the first thing we do is to take up the matter, and then a lawyer is assigned. If it is a matter that goes beyond mediation or usual counseling, then we take the matter up onto the courtroom, and then the rest, they say, is history. Yeah.
Okay. In the legal language, so it's on pro bono.
Very well, pro bono.
Okay. Now, let's come back to the workplace. Now, our guest last week, she said something about barriers, breaking the barriers. Now, I just want to take us back to those barriers. Like I said earlier, some people also don't know that their rights are violated. And it comes with information, education. A lot of us, a lot of Nigerians don't know their fundamental rights. Now, as women, who we feel that in some organizations are being oppressed, what should they do in terms of that?
In the workplace, where women feel that their rights are being abused or probably don't even know their rights. Okay, let me just quickly talk about enlightenment and awareness campaign by FIDA. FIDA does this enlightenment campaign, so whereby women are able to know what next step to take where they are suffering some form of violence or discrimination, be it workplace, be it in their homes or anywhere around them. So the next thing for any woman to do is to speak up, because we find out that women find it difficult speaking up in when they're experiencing any form of abuse. But even in the workplace, women hardly speak up. So the first step is for women to speak up. After speaking up, the appropriate ears will definitely pick it up and take action on it. But where the woman does not speak up, there's nothing anyone can do, because it actually comes from what the person suffering the violence wants. Everything is based on the person, the victim. If the victim wants it resolved, the victim speaks up. But if the victim stays silent, probably she doesn't want it resolved.
Okay. Just to add to that, so you said what we can do, especially in the workplace. So we need to put policies in place.
Okay.
We need to put policies in place. We enforce workplace sexual harassment policy. For instance, in the mid-level career, in my journey, I'm not sure. I can't go into an organization without seeing their workplace policy. So it needs to be spelled out, and then the enforcement of these policies needs to also be, be put in place. For instance, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act discriminates. Describe expressly states that there should not be a workplace, sexual harassment, and then we need this particular law to be domesticated in all states of the federation. Also, I think the ILO, that's the International Labour Organization.
Okay.
These policies are what organization needs to look out for. And then we also have the gender responsive procurement policies, that talks about, workplace sexual harassment and how it can be channeled. Also, in our private or in our business establishments, there needs to be set aside a reporting channel. A lot of business owners don't even understand what are these reporting channels. For instance, if a boss is the person, perpetrating this particular form of abuse, you can't even report in that aspect. But then there should be a neutral, room, a neutral, space where you can actually report this kind of harassment when it happens in the workplace. Thank you.
Okay. And just like you said earlier, you said when we talk about sexual harassment, it's not gender-based. It's human rights abuse. Now, for someone, maybe let's move away from women now. Because we hear also that men are sexually abused also.
Absolutely.
That's true.
So what can a man who has been sexually abused, what can he do? Does he also have a right to go to the court?
Yes, he has a right.
Okay.
Because the courts, the sexual violence courts are not established simply for women. It's for anyone that has been experiencing or has experienced sexual violence or harassment.
Okay.
So the men can actually approach the courts as well.
And it speaks more to public enlightenment. I wish everyone would understand that Sexual abuse, sexual harassment, it is not a gender issue. It is a human rights matter. So we need to start that conversation from there, where you understand that my right has been violated, where I understand that your rights, you have a right to be respected, you have a right to your body, human dignity, no degradation of any kind. We need to start that conversation that everyone deserves to be respected, either a child, a man, or a woman. We all have a right that needs to be respected.
Now, talking about women advancement, let's come to it critically now. Sometimes, somehow, we live in a society where somehow women are oppressed. They are not allowed to know in some parts of this country, in some states, you hear some men saying that sending women to school is just a waste of money. It's just a waste of time, and the rest of them. Now, how do we promote that women advancement? Apart from advocacy, which you people are doing, the FIDA is doing, what again can we do to promote women advancement?
Thank you. From my standpoint, the government has a lot to do in this regard. The government must begin to, enforce some of the laws we have, to begin to talk about it, that women education, starting from the girl child. The girl child has to be in school. I know that, there's some laws that is against not having any child on a particular within the school age. Any child not in school is a crime. So, but the government needs to actually back it up with enforcement and emphasize that children and girl child must be educated. So by the time a girl child is educated, she grows up to be a woman. She knows she's enlightened. She's educated. She's able to handle different things. Her mind is exposed to a whole lot of things, and then whatever comes her way, she has a little bit of let me use the word sense to handle some of these things. So that's on the part of the government. And then even in homes, or as citizens of Nigeria, men, women, we need to take a stand to ensure that our children are educated, and particularly our girl child. There's a saying which says that train a girl child and then you train the nation. You train the whole human race by extension. So this is important until people begin to, think in this light that the girl child is actually important to the development of the nation. They will begin to know that it is compulsory to actually educate the girl child. That's on the part of Nigerian citizens as a whole, apart from government putting in place laws and enforcing the laws. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just to add to what my colleague has said. So we need to have a societal and cultural change. Yes, laws are made for people, not, and it is the human race that actually determines this culture and these laws. So we need to engage more men as allies. We need to, it's like I said, it's not a woman thing, it's a human thing. So we need men. We need men to come on board. We need institutions. We need the religious body. We need the cultural, the traditional people. We need all hands on deck. We need allies. We need men allies to combat this issue of violence against women and girls. And then we need the media advocacy. There's so much everyone can do. So we need all hands to be on deck. We need partnership. But let's say if we have jingles flying out like here and there, everyone is talking about it, from primary school, secondary school, higher institution, everyone is aware. We need to be conscious of this conversation. And then we need to start eliminating some traditional practices. These things are no longer they're no longer necessary. For instance, female genital mutilation, widowhood practices, women not being able to, take up their parents' or their husband's properties. We need to start eradicating or eliminating some of these, harmful traditional practices. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, a comment. Say good morning, Lagoon Radio. This is Yew, and I want to commend FIDA for all they are doing. Please, where can I get FIDA? Where are their addresses? Is there a location where someone can locate
Yes,
FIDA?
absolutely. So,
Okay.
thank you so much, YEWANDE, right?
Sheung.
Sheung. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So, currently in Lagos, we have 5 branches of FIDA. We have FIDA Lagos, and the address is at 1416 Makoko Road, off about Macaulay Way, Yaba, Lagos. We have FIDA branch in Ikorodu. We have in Ekpe. We have in Badagry, and recently we have one in Ikeja. So it's not. Let me borrow the line. It's not moi. Like, we are serious. Yes, we are serious. And to think that we have 36 states in Nigeria, but then FIDA we have 46 branches cut across the federation. So we have, and then you can also, take our numbers, and you want to reach out to us. We hold our legal clinic every Thursday at Makoko Road, Yaba, Lagos. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, time is usually 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah.
On weekdays? Or
Weekdays, Thursdays, every Thursdays. Yeah.
Okay, Sheung, you can get that. Okay, in conclusion now, when we talk about all this, we've talked about eliminating some traditions and, yes, advocacy and the rest of them, also government. But there is something also I think that we are misplacing or we are forgetting. Something like, can we say also poverty is also a tool that is limiting women advancement in Nigeria? What do we have to say about poverty? Because some people, they will tell you, I don't have the money to send a girl child to school. Or the basic information they are supposed to get, they don't. What's the role of poverty on this?
Thank you. Poverty is a big issue, particularly in this part of the world. And when we say poverty, it's not limited to just resources. Poverty is of the mind. There's poverty of the mind as well. And I think to a very large extent, poverty of the mind is what is preventing people from educating their girl child. And it's also what is responsible for the poverty of women, which translates to poverty of resources for most women. So, like you said, that people will feel they don't have money to educate the girl child or whatever. But such a person may have money to educate the boy child, right? That's where discrimination sets in. That's discrimination against the girl child. And apart from that, I think, even if you cannot afford the private schools, at least basic education in Nigeria today is provided by the government. So, talking about money is no issue. So in that regard, we're talking poverty of the mind. So, and then for the women, sometimes some of these women can actually do very little things to make money. But because, they are wired to believe that, okay, the woman must sit at home and all of that. That is why they continue to wallow in poverty. They lose their rights. They don't even have a say in anything that pertains to them. They don't even have a voice regarding their body. But we preach financial independence for women. It is very important. Financial independence for the woman is very important. Even if the woman is selling pure water, she can make a living out of that. And there are some businesses women do not require so much money to start, just to ensure that they are financially independent. They can make little decisions on their own if they have their own resources. So that will take care of an aspect, poverty on regarding women.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add to what my colleague has said, so financial independence is absolutely necessary. Also, we need to understand another metrics, which is the unpaid care work. Like women involved in unpaid care work. Like, for instance, if I'm a woman and then I'm home all day, all night, I'm working.
Yes.
That's a job. That's a full-time job compared to a man that goes out and you even have break time. Some offices you have 1 p.m. then you have 3:30 p.m. But a woman, you sit at. That's why most times when I say housewife, there is nothing like housewife.
No, there's nothing like housewife.
There is nothing.
Workaholic.
See, I'd rather want to be and bury my head in the office than sit in the house. I'm sorry. Because that department, that unit, that job description is a lot.
It's a non-stop
and it is,
work.
Unpaid care work.
That's
So
deep.
we need to start some conversation around this. Thank God for what the UN Women is doing in the whole care economy program that is coming up. So we need to this conversation. It's a lot. It's a lot. Probably it's a story for another day. Not now, since we're already winding up. Yeah.
Okay. Just like you said, that it will be a story for another day. But in conclusion, before you leave, in just a few seconds, what would be your advice, maybe to the society at large? DORCAS first. What would be to the society?
All right. Thank you so much. So, I would urge everyone to see this conversation as a human rights conversation. It is not a woman's thing. See, if you come for my rights, I will bite you because it is God's given rights. It is not a woman's thing. It is a human rights matter. So please, I urge everyone to start seeing a woman's matter as a human's matter, not a woman thing. Thank you so much.
Okay, to the government and the citizens, what would be your own advice?
Yeah, thank you. My advice to the government is to ensure enforcement of the rights of women. The government is trying, but they can do more. Let's have women in places of leadership. Take, for example, the current National Assembly. Look at as far as I'm concerned, it's a boys' club. Yes, it's a boys' club. We need more women in positions to be able to move women forward for the advancement of women. So government should look into that. And then to the society at large, women are important in whatever role anyone is playing. So women should be accorded that right of being listened to, of being made to to anything that will make her advance. Women needs to be supported in every aspect. And in the workplace, let's talk about the workplace. But the workplace should actually have systems to support women, like what my colleague talked about, channels to report abuse, creche for nursing mothers, having to women work during pregnancy. I think it's a whole lot. The body is taking a whole lot with the pregnancy.
Maternity leave. Paid maternity.
Yes, paid maternity leave. Yes. It's very important for women.
Slashed payment. Paid. Payment.
Exactly. So these are things that we need to start talking about, and will translate to the advancement of women. Thank you.
Okay, we hope the government is listening. And for you, the citizen who is there listening, make sure you advance. Don't let the world push you. Just keep pushing. That's our message this morning. We must sincerely thank you, Barrister DORCAS, for coming on the show this morning. And Barrister YEWANDE too, we must sincerely appreciate you. And thanks to FIDA for what they are doing. And just like you heard, it's on pro bono. So whatever you feel, if you can't get across, come to us here. We'll give you the address to meet FIDA, and your problems will be solved. Thank you for listening to the program this morning. It returns again next week, same time. From me, ANOSIKE, CHIMEZIE, and our producer, Sandra Nche, it's goodbye, and do have a lovely day.
This is Lagoon Radio.